Today our topic is solving equations by multiplying and dividing. So our essential question is, how can I solve one-step equations using multiplication and division? So inverse operations, we have some vocabulary words. Go ahead and write operations that undo one another. We talked about this last time, but those inverse operations are adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing. They are inverses or opposites. And again, isolate the variable. Get the variable alone. So we have two properties of equality. We have the multiplication property of equality, which basically says that if you multiply one side of an equation by a number, you have to multiply the other side of the equation with a number. So if we have A and B, then we multiply A by C, then we have to multiply B by C to keep the equation equal. So here we have some things. We have 6 equals 6. If we multiply both sides by 2, then we get 12 equals 12. So here we have 2x equals 4. We multiply both sides by 4. We get 8x equals 16. So then it stays true. We always want true equations when we're solving. We don't want to go into a false equation. Division property of equality is when we divide something on the left-hand side, we have to divide the right-hand side by the same thing. So here we have A, we divide that by C, then we have to divide B by C as well. So, using those properties, we're going to solve some equations. We have 4x equals 84. 4x is 4 times x. So right here we have 4 times x equals 84. What do we need to do? Well, we need to do the opposite of times 4. Here's our variable x. We're multiplying it by 4, so we need to undo that with its opposite. The opposite of times is divide. We also use a fraction bar to represent division instead of a divide sign. So we would draw a line underneath it, put a 4 underneath it because we're dividing by 4. If we divide the left-hand side by 4, we have to divide the right-hand side by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So we say it cancels out because then it leaves us with 1x, which is the same thing as just x. We don't need the 1 there. We could put the 1 there, but we don't need it. So we usually just cross out the 4's and put an x. Equals 84 divided by 4 is 21. So x equals 21. Then remember, we do need to check our solution. So 4 times x equals 84. Plug 21 in for x, so we do 4 times 21 equals 84. Check if that's true. Do 4 times 21. When we do that, we get 84, which equals 84. So we're good. Next problem. We have x over negative 9. Now remember, that's division. That's x divided by negative 9 equals negative 3. To undo division, the opposite of division is multiplication. So we're going to have to multiply by the number that we're dividing by. Now the number we're dividing by is negative 9. So we have to multiply by negative 9. We're not going to divide by negative 9. We're going to multiply by negative 9. Multiplying by negative 9 is really multiplying by negative 9 over 1. So we kind of have to do a little more here. But negative 9 times x, this is back to fraction multiplication. We talked about earlier in the year. Negative 9 times x is negative 9x. 1 times negative 9 is negative 9. So I have negative 9x over negative 9. Well, remember, negative 9 divided by negative 9 cancels out. That gives us just 1x. So really, those negative 9's cross out, and we're left with just x. Equals, well, we multiplied the left-hand side by negative 9. We have to multiply the right-hand side by negative 9. Negative 3 times negative 9. Negative times negative is a positive, and then 3 times 9 is 27. So x equals 27. Now with these problems, it's really important to check because sometimes that division can throw us off. So we have x divided by negative 9 equals negative 3. Put the x in for x. So we have negative, not negative, Apologies. We have positive 27 divided by negative 9 equals negative 3. Well, 27 divided by negative 9, positive divided by a negative is a negative. 27 divided by 9 is 3. Negative 3 equals negative 3. On the right track. Another division problem to try. We have x over 3 equals negative 2.7. Draw your railroad tracks. We have division right there. That fraction bar means divide. To undo divide, we have to multiply. We're going to multiply by 3, which means we're going to multiply by 3. The 3's cancel. 3 divided by 3 is 1. We're left with 1x equals negative 2.7 times 3. A negative times a negative, or negative times a positive is a negative. 2.7 times 3. 2.7 times 3. 7 times 3 is 21. Carry the 2. 2 times 3 is 6, plus 2 is 8. We have a decimal point in our problem. We need one decimal point in our answer, so we get negative 8.1. Last problem. We have negative 13.2 equals 6x. Negative 13.2 equals 6x. Draw those railroad tracks. Now this one is just a little bit different because the x is on the right hand side. Doesn't change what we do, just changes the way it looks a little bit. 6 times x. Remember, number next to letter is multiplication. The opposite of multiply is divide. So to get x by itself, we have to undo times 6 with divide by 6. Divide by 6. We need to do negative 13.2 divided by 6. A negative divided by a positive is a negative. 13.2 divided by 6. We have 6. 13.2. 6 can go into 13 2 times. 2 times 6 is 12. Subtract, we get 1. Bring down the 2. 6 can go into 12 2 times with a remainder of 0. And bring up that decimal point. So we have negative 2.2. 6 divided by 6 is 1. So we're left with 1x. X equals negative 2.2. Go ahead and complete the check on both of those. Plug in the x to the original equation. Check your answers. Make sure that they're right. And if Ms. Hidrick made a mistake and one of those answers are not right, I'll give you a piece of candy. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel.